Ladies and gentlemen, the market just doesn't know what to do, swinging up and down here. We see a little bit of a pullback towards the end of the trading session right here. Palantir does happen to trade along with this, as the majority of the stocks do. What we had happen in the market today is we had some important data that came out that does show us signs that inflation is staying a little higher. We're going to be getting into the details about this, and especially as a lot of analysts and Wall Street in general are sitting on the sidelines waiting for the Fed to make their important decision regarding what's going to be happening with the interest rates. And as everybody's anticipating, when will the first interest rate cut happen? That seems like that's continuing to be delayed over and over and over again. So right now the market's really trying to price in what the exact amount is going to be, and they just can't really seem to get it figured out. So we're going to be talking about that, especially with PLTR earnings that's going to be coming up. A little bit of a pullback here. Could this possibly be a time for potential investors to get in at a cheaper price if PLTR does have some extraordinary earnings, which right now Data Dispatch is remaining bullish on? So if you are a new or returning viewer, hit that like button, subscribe for daily videos, and of course, I'm just not a financial advisor. I'm collecting all the data and dispatching it to you. Now, pop it up on the screen here. Let's quickly talk about PLTR price before we get into what happened here kind of in the global macroeconomic situation. PLTR down about 4%. This doesn't bother me at all because none of this is PLTR related. You can see right here, testing support here at this 22 area. This is a level of support that we can see some continuation of consolidation, which is great. If testing of support here can hold, that'll be important for PLTR going forward. However, even if we continue to see a pullback, if the Fed makes a negative decision, we could see PLTR testing this $20 area. Now, we had a very critical reversal that was triggered here. So this support level is becoming stronger as we speak. And it is right at the neckline of this head and shoulders pattern, which is typically bearish in nature. So not to get too concerned or emotional about yet. That's not where I'm sitting at right now. Because, like I said, what we have here is the whole NASDAQ comes down about 2% as we have the stocks that come down to the end of the worst month in 2024 as we close out April here. And the specific statistic that came out on Tuesday was the Bureau of Labor. They had released the Employment Cost Index. Now, this measures compensation, benefits. This increased 1.2% from December to March. This is the highest increase that we've had in the year. Why this is being seen as a negative type of news and statistic that's being released here by the Fed is that wages and salaries that are continuing to increase. This specific data shows ongoing concerns that these persistently high wages are keeping inflationary levels elevated. With that being said, the investors and Wall Street is bracing for policymakers to hold the interest rates at these historically high elevated levels, specifically here because the Fed right now has a 2-day meeting that is occurring. This interest rate decision is going to be happening on Wednesday, May 1st. Wednesday afternoon here, the central bank right now is widely expected to hold interest rates steady. So right now, what we could have, the market is pricing this in as we speak. What could lead to more of a cascade is if the market or the Fed comes out here and talks about the future's interest rate projections. And if we have more details or ideas about probabilities, are we still going to have cuts in 2024? Are we talking about 2025 now? If we see more news there that's in the bearish type of potential, we could see a little bit more of a pullback because the market's trying to figure it out, like I had mentioned. One thing that isn't changing, though, is that's going to be Palantir earnings. That's going to be happening May 6th post-market. People wondering when that is? Hey, now it's less than a week away officially. It's going to be happening here before we know it because trading days only go throughout the week. Specifically, we talked about this before, but important things that we're looking for in PLTR earnings, quarter one earnings, especially for 2024, is going to be billings. Measuring the success of PLTR's exposure utilizing AIP and looking particularly here, I agree with Morningstar, in the commercial side of things, really taking a look at customer additions. And this is really great because what we've seen is a gauge that PLTR has already been pretty successful in what they have released in terms of information to the public. And that is that they've had 5 AIP boot camps at least per day. So customer additions, things are looking bullish right now as we speak, with the information, of course, that we do have. And how that's going to stack against Wall Street expectations, of course, is going to be just a matter of time. Another big thing that's important for revenue metrics and earnings per share and stuff like that is that government sales are still continuing to evolve, still continuing to be successful with PLTR, and especially what we did see with here, the firm scoring of that Titan contract with the U.S. government. So right now, what we're seeing is where AI industry is continuing to grow rapidly. On top of that, what we're seeing with some of these tech companies are still doing well. Even though we saw the NASDAQ come down here, that's more of an emotional response, about 2%. Amazon just reported earnings and beat it on both the top and the bottom line. So tech companies, what we're seeing here, markets, AI markets specifically, more speculative in nature. We're going to see more volatility, but still operating well, regardless of what we're seeing in terms of the emotion that's coming across the market. Of course, the number one criticism, not justification, criticism is the fair value estimate, and why the fair value and the valuation is always high. Zacks does a great job here. I like the way that they do put this, and the way they say here that the valuation is really determined by what the future gauge, almost a barometer, what the future gauge of earnings reports are going to be regarding a specific company. Regarding PLTR right now, it is one of the top trendy companies out there. It's one of the stocks that is most watched here, even on Zacks.com. And everybody is expecting PLTR to continue to grow. That's a big thing. With that comes a high valuation, because if everybody's expecting PLTR to grow, then they think, hey, market cap is going to increase. And of course, you're going to see return on investment. That is the kind of theology that's behind the expectations of this high valuation. So right now, of course, investors are like, they're going to pay for a premium right now if the price is going to continue to increase. Therefore, we get a higher valuation. And we've seen this across the board on Seeking Alpha. That PLTR continues to work on a rank at a D and an F ranking for valuation. But however, I see this as something that's happening that I'm not surprised. That's what I want to say here. And especially, I get a lot of information from Seeking Alpha. Quick excerpt, if you want to check out all the data that I get, 20% off premium membership. I am an affiliate with them. Check it down in the description. But earnings per share revisions, we're continuing to see green bullish earnings per share revisions going in the bullish direction. I have not yet to see a negative correction in the earnings per share revisions in the previous few earning quarters for PLTR. So the valuation right here is kind of justifying, as people are saying that Palantir is going to continue to grow into the valuation that it does have. Now, earnings per share is sitting at 8 cents. And one big thing that we are seeing with PLTR, Amit is a great PLTR content kind of reporter, creator. He's always posting what ARK invest in. Well, Kathy Wood is continuing to buy here. Right now, Kathy Wood from ARK, investor, index fund investor of disruptive technologies, adds another 45,000 shares of PLTR, buying now 345,000 shares over the last 2 weeks. Really pinpointing here that she wasn't buying at $23 and over, and seems like 22 and below is her buy range. Interesting to see here, and if we specifically look at the technicals, like I said, testing this support right here at about the 22s is an interesting point where you do have a big, major investor, big person on Wall Street that is accumulating a lot of the stock at this point. And with that, Palantir is going to be very exciting with the things that are going to be coming up here within the next few trading sessions. In summary, and specifically what we're seeing, analysts are seeing revenue rising predictions of 19% to $625 million for next week's first quarter report. And they're also seeing earnings per share soaring 60% to 8 cents per share. These are big milestones for Palantir to accomplish. I continue to see Palantir beat their quarter earnings. We have now possibly the 6th quarter of GAAP profitability, which means the S&P 500 inclusion will continue to be a highlight that is sitting on the table, as of course, they met the criteria. In summary, what we are seeing here, Palantir continuing, I think we could possibly see a reversal, testing the support here, or possibly if we see the Fed that says, hey, we're going to hold interest rates steady, and if we have more negative news regarding the interest rates and the probability of future interest rate cuts, Palantir could be testing that 20s. It would take a big momentum and a cascade, I think, to break that $20 of support, even though anything can happen in this market, and especially with more of a speculative AI stock. Let me know, what do you think is going to be happening down? What's the Fed going to report? And I want to know your ideas, your comments, and your concerns and your feedback. Thank you guys so much for watching. Peace out. Take care, and I'll catch you guys later.